Hi guys, let's talk about the element of earth. The earth element is a lot like the earth element in the West. There are some differences which I will address today. Earth is connected to middle age, to parenthood, to settling, finding housing, finding where you belong. In us, it instigates honesty and stability. The color is yellow and it has to do everything with mother. Earth is very calming and grounding. We can use a potent earth energy to transform. In our bodies, earth is connected to the spleen and the stomach, thus making it an element that helps us digest both food and the thoughts. If something is hard to digest, either way, this will show in our earth element. The earth is also very peaceful. It is connected to the time of our life when we're having our own kids, but it also has to do with us growing out of the kids' role. And many of us don't do that until a later age. The earth soaks in the water, it soaks in everything that comes onto it, good and bad energy, and it transforms it into something that we can use. Now, if you know about the meridians, you might know that the young meridians are protective and they're either in the back or on our sides. However, we have one young element that goes in the front, and that young element is connected to our stomach. Meaning that you can read from somebody's face or somebody's hair situation right here about how they're dealing with the frontal attacks in their life. If a person is constantly challenged or somebody is really aggressive, we start losing hair here because this is where that meridian starts. And it's very interesting to see because very often along with the loss of hair, we also start to develop red cheeks, which show that we are constantly under fire. The analogies of the element of earth are rich. It is connected to the morning when our spleen and our stomach are the strongest. In Chinese medicine, the spleen is the more important one because it transforms the food and the liquid that we take in. And if it doesn't work correctly, then we can have a lot of dampness in our body. It is considered to be like a pot where we're digesting our food. And if there is not enough fire, enough energy, that food would turn into a sludge. This element doesn't have a season like the other four. It is considered that it appears between every 2 seasons for about 2 or 3 weeks. But there is one time of year which we associate with the element of earth, and that is late summer. Late summer as in about 2nd or 3rd week of August, all the way to the fall equinox. The earth is sweet. It is a staple. This is why we mostly connect it with the bread and with the image of the bread. It is the basic thing that nurtures us. In order to protect our spleen and our stomach from the dampness, we can eat the stuff that is warming and aromatic. That are usually ginger, pepper, caraway, cinnamon, and other aromatic spices. The main 2 emotions associated with earth are sympathy and worry. It is said if your world is shaken, you're going to feel anxiety, you're going to overthink stuff. The Mother Earth is the embodiment of the element Earth. Also, Mother in our life is embodiment of the element Earth, as well as are we as mothers or parents. Meaning that if our Earth is shaken, we are going to over-worry, overthink, and feel anxiety. And now, since the Earth mostly depends on the food that we eat and the herbs that we ingest as either tea or spices, this can change daily the state of our element. And it is very important that we keep the earth warm, dry, not all the way dry, but not damp, and not allow it to glide into the worry. If we do not eat properly, we will most likely be very low on the earth energy. And this will show in many symptoms that most of us do know. People can feel nauseous. Irritable bowel syndrome is the one that is closely connected to the earth element. Weight gain, bloating, constipation. It has to do with all blood sugar disorders. And if we have a low energy, which usually points to the dampness in the body, we can have brain fog, chronic fatigue, and just all around low energy, no will to do stuff. In Magick, the earth element is mostly used for grounding, for transformation, and for trauma healing. Most of the protection spells fall under the earth energy, as well as do family traumas and any type of ancestral work. This is very important both if we need to cut the ties or if we are looking for a connection to our ancestry, because many of us do not know who came before us. The majority of trauma in our life comes from the people close to us. We can use this in Magick in order to change our habits that we inherited from our parents, even unknowingly. We can use the Magick to cut the ties to the bad parts of our parents and connect to what they had good in them. Nobody's all the way good or bad, and many of us just carry this around without ever thinking about it. In astral, we can use the earth element to get back to our roots and for the grounding, and to connect to our ancestors or the deities that are protective. We can learn to simplify things, because when the earth element is not in balance, we are prone to overcomplicating, and I think that everybody knows someone who just can't do the things in a simple way, because if it's not complicated, it doesn't work, right? Let's hear an example of an earth journey. The portal is usually made out of any earth-related materials, so clay, soil, stones, even sand. Sometimes it appears as a cave entrance and somebody just a hole in a hillside that you can go through. As it is an element that appears everywhere, in between every 2 seasons, this can also appear as a secondary element when you're doing any other element journey. Once you step through the portal, the images can be very rich or very scarce depending on the fact if you set an intention or not. This is where we can relieve whatever we want to see in our life. It is almost like a rehearsal. So if you're trying to change yourself and how you perceive things in life, you can start here. If you're trying to cut the ties to some family members, you can do that here. We can learn to detach ourselves from what our parents and the close people did to us in our life. We can learn to assign accountability to whoever was really guilty and not take the guilt into us, because this is what Earth tends to do. Any type of past life regression or past life journey can be done in this element, because it connects you to your fetal period where you can expand your mind to what came before, if you believe in past lives, of course. And there is a very specific technique that I like to use while traveling in the earth element. This, of course, happens if it's a guided meditation, and if it's not, you can do it yourself, but it requires some practice before. This is called the timeline technique. You can set your life on a stage and place it on a line where you are at the end of that line, which is a present, and you can put all the past on that line, either left of you or behind you usually. This allows you to backtrack your steps through life and go back to when a trauma happened that should help you solve your problem. So we're going back to a certain time in our life, and then we acknowledge it, and then we go backwards until the very first memory we have. Once we are there, we can consciously decide to dissolve the memories that we have, or the trauma from the memories that we have. From that moment on, we create a parallel timeline. And then we go forward to each of these points in life where we did experience trauma. And we allow ourselves to relive that moment in life without that trauma. We can set up how our normal childhood would have been. What would happen? How did our parents act? How did our teachers act? If we were bullied, we can erase all of this and imagine being friends with the people we liked back then. And we do this for every single point in life that we stopped on the original timeline. Now, this will not erase what happened to you. It will open a second idea in your head. And the more time passes, the more you will grow fond of the new memories that you created, and you will, in that way, let go of the memories that really hurt you. Because we need to process those memories and we need to let them go. And if we hold on to them, they create the patterns that rule our life at the present time. So once we walk through all the trauma points, we can slowly go back to our present point in life. And at this point, we are not creating a parallel present. We are experiencing our point in life with all the new memories that we had. How would our life be now if this didn't happen, if we never met this person, and if that person ever did this to us? You can use the earth element in any way you like. It is very beneficial to work on our roots and resolving our earth problems before we try to help the others, because this is the next point that we will be talking about. We can use the earth for manifestation, and we manifest through feeding. What does that mean? We have to choose in life what job we want, which partner we want, how we are going to raise our kids, how are we going to be in our workplace with our friends and family. To manifest the right things, we have to learn to say the stuff the way we want it to be. And then we need to feed this idea. We feed it with different images of that whole situation where we want to wind up. We feed it with emotions, and we feed it with the right people that we want around us. Everything that we try to manifest through the earth element will take its time. It is very stable, it is slow, but it comes to fruition eventually. This is why it is very beneficial if we work on our patience as well. The earth forces us to be conscious of our harvests in our life, because this is connected to the time where we pick what we laid in the ground. If we're not mindful of that, we will never experience thankfulness, and we will never be happy where we are. And this is all the earth is about. To heal the earth element and to balance it, we mentioned the foods before. We need an equal effort on our mental level or on our soul level as well. We all know or are the people who are always worried about everything. You might also know people who are confused about everything. Anytime it touches into anything personal, they're confused. Anytime you show any type of emotion toward them or somebody else does, they're confused. Each and every person at some point realizes what is going to happen. And this is us not accepting. If you catch somebody doing something bad, or somebody catches you doing something bad, them or you will act in confusion. I do not know what happened. That's a denial. And this has a lot to do with the earth energy and not standing your ground. So in order to avoid the worry and the confusion, we can do one very simple thing, because everything about the earth is rather simple, and that is to stand our ground, to take up our space, and to be responsible. Responsibility is a huge thing in this element. Another lesson to learn from the earth is to say no. If you're spread too thin, you can't help anyone. And it's mostly people who are spread too thin who try to heal other people and to be there for them. We talked about all the symptoms that come along with the earth that is low on energy or weak. If you have any of these symptoms, you should not be healing others. You should be turning inwards towards yourself. You should grow your roots, and you should heal your earth to be healthy and to be able to be there for others. It has a strong sense of mothering, of compassion, of patience. If our earth is healthy, we can do all of this and we'll be good at it, and it will not be pathological. If we over-mother someone, this will show in worst ways. We know that the earth is heavy. Let's say we pressure our kids into this type of behavior. We're always there for them. We are overprotective. We tell them every single thing they should do during the day. This shows that the earth is very imbalanced. What kids then develop is a sense of manipulation. This can stunt their growth and their ability to care for themselves. They're starting to exaggerate stuff. We're robbing them of their way to experience life and to learn what's right or wrong, instead of us telling them this is right, this is wrong, every single time, because this is not a normal parenting then. So if we do this, the children will exaggerate, they will manipulate, they will lie, they will complain and whine all the time. You've surely heard them saying, no one understands me. And these people, when they grow up into adults, they turn into a victim personality and they stay in the victim personality unless something happens to them. We have all heard the saying to be somebody's rock. These people have a very balanced earth. Some of them might be overprotective, it depends. It is a thin line, and this is an element we really have to take care for. It maintains your muscles and divides the energy properly to every organ if it's in balance, meaning you're healthy and you can take care of others. If we pass that line, then we're turning into somebody's boulder. We're pulling them under, we're squishing them, and nobody wants to be that person. So, be somebody's rock and do not be somebody's boulder. Let your kids breathe, let yourself breathe, and find your place in life where you can let your roots go. I will be linking the blog post connected to this video. If you have any questions, please comment down below. And if you like the channel, please subscribe. Thank you all for being here.